If there is anything at all to be said about Star Wars, is that the Sith are enigmatic, powerful, and nigh omnipotent beings of pure malevolent dark side energy, while some Sith such as Darish Vol, Tulak Horde, and Darth Bane all implemented their own way in the Sith. There is one Sith that took the galaxy by storm, one Sith that instigated a Jedi purge that would rival, and perhaps even eclipse the brutality of Order 66. Lord Nihilus and the Sith Triumvirate seemingly appeared out of nowhere, carving a mysterious and untraceable path of destruction right in the middle of the galaxy at large. The Jedi Civil War had just been ended. Revan and Malak had been liberated from the galaxy. Revan had been recently captured by Vishit and put under experimentation. And now this new Sith Lord was taking the galaxy in a storm of Force hunger. Greetings, my acolytes, and welcome back to the archive, as we explore why Darth Nihilus may very well be not just the most powerful Sith, but the most powerful entity in all of Star Wars lore, while speaking in the mortal convention of Force users. Darth Nihilus, of course, had the famous ability to drain entire planets of life due to his mastery and trademark prowess over Force drain, with it eclipsed every other being in all of history up to that point, and of all time. Darth Nihilus was a Sith that rivaled both Vishit and Palpatine, and the purest dark side connection, rivaling that of perhaps even Abeloth and the son of Mortis. So, my friends, grab a snack, prepare to be more immersed steeped in the dark side of the Force's energies than you ever have before, and allow us to view the horrors and the most powerful ability of Lord Nihilus. To start off, we have to gain a current understanding of his life. Darth Nihilus was a human male who reigned as the Dark Lord of the Sith during the era of strife following the Jedi Civil War, which saw the fallen Jedi Revan and Malak both try to dominate and nearly succeed in decimating the Republic. Before becoming a Sith Lord, he lost everything, family, friends, and wealth during the Galactic Republic's crusade against the Mandalorian Neo-Crusaders. He survived the activation of the Mass Shadow Generator superweapon by Mitra Sur through the war's final and culminative battle at the planet of Malachor 5, the one planet he would later govern, which surrounded the planet with a destructive spatial phenomenon known as a mass shadow, an incredibly rare pure dark side ability. Experiencing a shadow that obliterated almost everything on and around the planet, Nihilus craved Force energy, making him have a lust and hunger for it. The affliction painfully ravaged his body, while rendering him a wound in the Force itself, an embodiment of eternal strife and pain that echoed from the ghosts around Malachor and the corpses that lie within it. He was found by a seeker of these, the former Jedi historian Kreia, who had adopted the Sith moniker of Sith Lord Darth Traya, and told him she could teach him to feed his endless hunger. He accepted her offer of apprenticeship, and at the Treyas Academy on Malachor 5, where he over time became one of 3 concurrent Dark Lords of the Sith who would plunge the galaxy into an era of tyrannical dark side power and strife. Together, they founded the organization as Triumvirate, with Treya its head and her 2 apprentices, Darth Sion, the Lord of Pain, as its 3rd member. The trio chose individual titles from themselves, Darth Nihilus bestowing upon himself the Lord of Hunger. The apprentices grew in strength throughout their training, and eventually overpowered their master. Sion beat and defeated Treya in single combat, while Nihilus sapped her energy. The 2 Sith then combined their power, with Nihilus using his mastery of Force Drain to sever her connection to the Force by killing the midichlorians within herself, and send her into exile in disgrace. Nihilus's affliction developed to the point where the Dark Lord was forced to call upon the dark side itself to encase his spirit within a mask and armor to stay alive itself, binding himself to his mask, robes, and armor in order so he could wield a lightsaber and perform other Force abilities like Force Lightning. He and Sion then began the first Jedi Purge that could rival Order 66 in brutality and power, causing the virtual extinction of the Jedi Order and all remaining Jedi to go into hiding. By the end of Nihilus and Sion's crusade, there were roughly 50 to 100 Jedi remaining in the galaxy, very similar to the purge enacted by Palpatine. Nihilus was responsible for the devastation and obliteration of the planet Qatar in 3952 BBY, killing and absorbing the Force energy of the Jedi at the Conclave on Qatar. Over 100 Jedi perished in this battle, along with every other living thing on the world save one Miracula, a woman named Visas Ma. Ma was collected from the surface, and Nihilus began to train her as his shadow hand, his secret assassin and apprentice. 1 year later, Nihilus began to sense his growing presence in the Force and dispatched Marat to eliminate it, The Presence was a woman exiled from the Jedi Order previously after the event of the Mandalorian Wars, known as Mistress Surik, who was on a quest to find the few Jedi masters who would survive the Purge with the aid of Darth Trail, who put away her Sith trappings and moniker and identified herself once more as the Sith historian Kreia. When Mara attempted to assassinate Surik, the exiled Jedi defeated her and convinced her to turn to the light side of the Force in the process, tricking Nihilus' own apprentice by seducing her with the fact that Nihilus would obliterate the entire galaxy, including her, in his quest for ever more power. Although Nihilus returned to the lurking fringes of known space, he was eventually tricked by Kreia into initiating the Battle of Telos 4, in an attempt to absorb a Jedi Academy that lacked any Force sensitives aside from the head mistress. Nihilus contacted and met with a large Republic and Mandalorian fleet at the planet that distracted him. Meanwhile, his flagship, the Ravager, composed by his own dark essence, was secretly boarded by a small force consisting of the Jedi, Mandalore the Preserver, and the Mandalorians. Nihilus then proceeded to engage them in combat, using Force Drain on Mistress Surik. However, he underestimated her ability to draw upon the Force energy of others, and was able to resist his advances, rendering him exceptionally weak compared to his normal counterpart. In the end, Nihilus struck down, slaying Nihilus in the ensuing duel, causing his entire body to explode in dark side energy, something we have only ever seen from two other Sith Lords, that being Emperor Valkorion and Darth Sidious. The two beings, in my opinion, that rival Darth Sidious in terms of pure dark side power. The Sith Lord's armor maintained a fragment of his spirit and was collected for burial on the Sith homeworld of Korriban, to honor this ancient entity, where his soul could be contacted with a holocron of his own creation, as Darth Krayt would do many millennia later. One thing I would like to highlight about Nihilus is Nihilus has achieved something that only one other Sith in history ever did. Vitiate achieved this as well. This ability was the fact that he became a literal entity in the Force. An entity, for those who do not know, was a pure entity, a being, a personification, an embodiment of the Force, a spiritual being manifested or animated by the Force. Vitiate achieved this by draining the life essence of both Zyos and Nathema, which rendered him nigh immortal, allowing him to transfer a spirit from multiple wholesome vessels. Nihilus, while not allowing his spirit to become immortal, managed to maintain it and bind it with his mask, allowing him therefore to become a Force entity. Nihilus, while draining Qatar, became a literal god of the dark side of the Force. His very speech caused pain and agony, and death to those around us. Nihilus and Tenebrae became a being on par with the power of someone like the Bendu. The Bendu, of course, was a very virgin and entity in the Force. Darth Nihilus and Vitiate were able to basically become like a Force ghost and a Force spirit, while still residing in their physical body. Darth Nihilus' power cannot be overstated. He is one of, if not the most powerful Sith Lord in all of history, with its only rivals being both Sidious and Tenebrae. Darth Nihilus became a literal virgin in the Force itself, the embodiment of all the lives lost that fateful day of Malachor 5. Nihilus was exceptionally powerful. We've already done a video detailing Nihilus' power, so I heavily suggest you go check the video out, Why Nihilus Makes Palpatine Look Like a Noob. Darth Nihilus' embodiment of the dark side of the Force was rivaled only by Tenebrae. The only other entities that we know in Star Wars lore were all being embodiments of the dark side of the Force. No other being in the history of the galaxy, besides Nihilus and Vitiate, ever succeeded in becoming a literal virgins, a literal embodiment, a personification of the pure malice of the Force itself, besides these two beings while still residing in the corporeal realm. An argument might be made for the Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor, however, was embodied as Darth Vader by his Force spirit. He was embodied as a Force spirit and left to guard Yavin 4, which he would eventually guard from Luke Skywalker attempting to steal a lightsaber crystal that could resurrect the dead. Goodbye, my friends. This is where we part ways. I hope you enjoyed this content about Darth Nihilus, unquestionably one of the most powerful dark side entities and beings to ever have existed. And also, my guys, this coming Thursday, I'm going to be releasing a video about what if Darth Nihilus fought Abeloth, and why Darth Nihilus might have been the perfect candidate to end Abeloth's tyrannical regime across the galaxy, once and for all. Farewell, my acolytes. I'll see you in a galaxy far, far away. And remember, kneel before the dragon of Zakul or succumb to his hunger.